Hi everyone! Today I want to show you how to make this really sweet Valentine. The star of this card is the brand new Hexagon Dynamic Textured Impressions Embossing Folder. It's dynamic because it's extra thick and it makes a really deep impression. It's thicker than standard embossing folders. It also uses a few other new items from the brand new Occasions catalog, and that would be this little bee. The bee is from a brand new Thinlits collection. It features dragonflies, and it's called Detailed Dragonfly. There's a stamp set that coordinates with it, but I just love these little dies. I'm going to use it with the stamp set. Without the stamp set, they're just so cute. And here's that little bee for the bee mine. I've also used the Sweet and Sassy, I believe they're called. Yeah, Sweet and Sassy framelit dies. These are a collection of hearts, and they come in two different styles. This is kind of a old-fashioned, less, I guess you would call it curvaceous heart. It's more of a simple heart, and there's several sizes of that, and then there's this more curvy heart, and there's several sizes of that one, and I went with the curvy one today. So we're going to use some of those pieces to put together this card. The last thing you would need are these cute little alphabets, and they're from the Labeler Alphabet stamp set. I really like this. I use this a lot, and I usually use the dark ones, I have to say, but they come in a background one with the kind of reverse image is what you end up reading, and then there's the standard letters as well. Now if you notice, there's two O's, two R's, two S's. You can write out some words with this if you use the non-background labelers, but I like this one because it reminds me of those punch labelers that you had that was like a black ribbon, and then when you punched it, the plastic turned white where you had the raised image. So I just really like them. I think they're really fun, and you can write anything you want. So I decided to go with Be Mine for Valentine's Day. Let's go ahead and get started on the card. As I said, the star of the show is this embossing folder, and it's really, really thick. I'm going to get another one, and see, you can't really see it, but it's, maybe you can. Got them side by side. See, it's like twice as thick as a standard embossing folder. Now because it's twice as thick, you need to make your sandwich a different way. A sandwich is what we call the plate and the various cutting pads that we use. And normally you would use two of these clear plates and one cutting pad. But because this is so thick, you're only going to use one of the clear plates. Now this is a newer cutting pad. It's a newer Big Shot platform that comes in the new catalog that came out in June. And you've got this adapter for dies and thinlits, and this old one. Now if you have the older one with the tabs, looks like this, you would go ahead and open up all your tabs. This is your platform, and you would use the big thick die and one of the clear plates. Okay, so I'm going to go with the newer platform. The newer platforms just came out, and at first I thought I didn't need them, but they explained to us that over time your Big Shot in the center is where it kind of starts to, that's where you always seem to place your items, and it just kind of wears a little bit. And this platform is slightly raised. You can barely tell that it's slightly raised in the center, but it is. And even just the slightest amount, you know, when using a piece of paper, how thin that is, even just giving it a shim really helps make the impression deeper. And this little bit in the center really does help. I didn't think it would. I had some extra points to use. As a demonstrator, we get lots of little points and things, and for sales, and we have hostess benefits and stuff like that. So I had some points to use, and I was going to pass on this, and I decided, well, I have points, I'll use it. And I really do like it. I recommend it. It is actually worth buying. So think about that. Another tip when using such a deep impression is to spray your cardstock a little bit. This is just going to help the paper fibers. I always have the Stampin' Mist on my table because I use it to clean my stamps, so this is always out. So it's not technically water, but I use this to spray because it's right there on my desk. You can use water if you so choose. So this is just going to help the paper fibers when they go through such a deep impression. Okay, I'm going to show you what this looks like. So here's the Big Shot. Normally I cut off screen, but this is such a thick little embossing folder. I really wanted you to see that one cutting pad and one of the plates is enough to actually get it to go through. So there it goes through. And here is what it looks like. Now with this embossing folder, it was really hard for me to decide what side I liked better. This is the side where the hexagons are up, so is that convex maybe? And this side they are going in. And I think that both sides are lovely, and I had a hard time deciding, so I did one card this way and one card this way. I think you see the impression really well on the convex, or the one where they're pressed in. For some reason the shadows just really pop, and they really show you that this is very textured. On this one it's really textured too. Really cool. Anyway, so let's go ahead and put that down. I made a card base out of thick Whisper White. Now normally I would just run snail across this, but this is a deep impression, like I said. So I'm going to use some tear tape. I think I'm going to use this side. And this way I'm just not rubbing out that impression. It's just so pretty. And I'm just going to place that. I've got this little mica flakes floating around my craft room. Okay. Place that down. Now I made some little hearts with the Big Shot earlier, but I wanted to show you that I also sponged them a little bit to give them more texture and depth. So I took a little sponge and I just went along the edges like so. This is going to help them because I layer them on top of each other and they won't get as lost when you layer them. So here's a layered example. Okay, we got those pieces. We have our bee that I already cut out from the Detailed Dragonfly thinlit dies. Next are just those cute little bee mine. Now probably you have lots of little strips of white paper. I do. I have a little bag full of just these thin little strips from cutting off stamps, not stamps, paper. And so I have all kinds of little strips and I use them for this purpose all the time. I don't know why, but I love that I use up the little scraps. It makes me feel happy. So here we're gonna just do each individual letter. I tried doing letters together and I didn't like the spacing. So this way, I just kind of dab off on my paper mat here. These paper mats are awesome because they give a little bounce to your stamp. With the clear stamps, they're not on that rubber foam that we're used to on the wood mount stamps. And working on this surface, I don't have to put a little, some people put a little pad underneath their stamps, which is a good idea if you're using the photopolymer stamps. There's my bee. And mine. See, it really comes together quickly. I know that you think, oh, each individual letter, I don't want to do that, but it's actually quite fast, as you can see. Oh, I messed up my end. Let's see if I can save it. And, oh, that's a bee. They are small. Be mine. Just use my paper snips. Okay. And now we're just going to assemble. This is some fun little tiny thread in black that came out in the newest annual catalog. We'd had it in silver and gold before, but the black is a new color. It's kind of fun. Here's how I attach it. I wrap it around my hand 4 or 5 times. And I cut it. I should have done this ahead of time, but I take my biggest part of my cluster, which in my case here is going to be this heart, and I put a bunch of snail down. And then I just take this whole glob of thread and I put it right there. And once it's stuck down, you can kind of think to yourself, okay, I don't have any coming off the bottom, so I'm going to bring this around, and you can take maybe one of these loops here and bring that down. The idea is to have it random though, so don't overthink it. Just put it down and let it be. There. So it's just a random little threading. And that's going to go down with some dimensionals straight onto my card. Okay, this is going to go right down somewhat in the center. And there we go. Once I have that down, I can place my other hearts, also with dimensionals. You know, they can be different every single time. I think this one's going to go down here. There we go. Now the B mine are really small, so that's when I use this little edge of my dimensionals. And I just cut a little piece, like so. And I use that. This one's a little longer, so I'm going to do that on the mine. And this one will go on to B. I like to have it slightly touch. I like my cluster to be kind of tight. This is an embellishment cluster, I guess you'd call it. I don't like things being too randomly far away. Okay, so here's the mine, slightly askew. And now all we need is our B. And for this one, you can use a thin glue, like the new fine glue. I used a glue dot, just because it was on my desk. It's easy, except that it's stuck to my finger. There we go. And he's going to go right about there. So there is your cute Be Mine Valentine card featuring that new Hexagon Dynamic Textured Impressions embossing folder. You're going to want to get this embossing folder. It's lovely, and it's going to be great on some Father's Day cards coming up too, don't you think? And here's the Be Mine, and here it is in Pool Party. This pinkish color that I used here is actually rose red. Just want to make sure you knew that. This is Pool Party and rose red, and this one is Crushed Curry and rose red. And there you go. I hope you like my cards, and we'll give them a try on your own. If you don't already have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I would love to earn your business. You can check out my blog at www.bethspapercuts.com, and you can purchase all sorts of Stampin' Up! Supplies straight from there. This month we have Celebration going on, which means that you can choose a free product from the Celebration catalog with every $50 that you spend. There's so many great things in here. Stamp sets, this cute little tin that you can make for your cards. There's a ribbon, coloring paper, lots of goodies in here. I've got a link to this catalog on my blog as well. And for the month of January, February, and March, when you place an order that qualifies for a celebration item, I'm also sending out a hand-stamped thank you card. Normally I send out one hand-stamped thank you card with every order, but for celebration, I'm going to sent out 5 hand-stamped cards. One of them will be something newer from the newer products. But I'm also going to send out some of my cards that I've made in the past year so that I can kind of dwindle down some of my stash and share some great ideas with my customers. So I hope you'll give it a try, and I hope that you like my project. Thanks for stopping by. Bye-bye.